You put me so at ease. Like, I don't know if you could tell, but I was like, oh, but dude, it was awesome. So thank you so much. And dude, the videos that I got people in the audience, I mean, dude, it was.
Everybody was saying the visuals were sick. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I'm glad we got that little moment before you went on just to like check in together.
I needed it. I was
put
like,
a face. Yeah, like it's a person to person kind of thing that makes it better.
yeah, it was a collab, right?
Yeah, it was cool. Exactly. It always is, but it
Yeah.
makes it even better when you kind of get that like moment of like, all right, let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So Zoey, you wanted Victor to share a little bit about his process for the visuals, and I think you mentioned that you had some thoughts and ideas on kind of like how we can do them even better for next time, or how Victor can do it better next time. What I'm trying to get out of this as well is to kind of learn how I need to set up my intake for visual assets into Vibes and Logic. So in theory, when you guys are done with a show, or if Victor wanted to add music to the Vibes and Logic system, I can like reappropriate those visuals and maybe even like some of the work that Zoey's doing, and kind of give Zoey an interface to kind of put it together potentially, and then monetize, the visuals and the music together.
Yeah. Just kind of, if you want to let me know some of your process, and I can let you know some feedback and maybe some other ideas I had for it, especially on the giving assets to like VJs and live show like aspect. I have, I don't know, some input. I guess there's other stuff you could do, maybe with like video editing as well for solo. Yeah,
I'm pretty good with video editing. I mean, let me just tell you kind of how this all worked. I think I did tell you when I met you, but literally Hayam from Midway was, she has a very in her communication in emails and things, it's very cut and dry. Okay? It's not very
direct.
Hey, what's happening? Like, no, she just skips all, which is great, which is why she's so effective. But it was like Thursday night or like something. Thursday night, I think she goes, need visuals in 20 minutes. That was the email. I'm like, and that like seriously like sent me. And I, unfortunately, for better or for worse, I'm the kind of human like I'm very like a pressure cooker person. Like I don't, there's like, no things are happening, and then when I get an email like that, things start happening. So I was like, okay, how can I take, because I've been sort of like using Midjourney, the kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with Midjourney, but I've been making just tons of like little kind of assets. I basically took a picture of me in my kind of like red jacket, glasses, whatever outfit, and just had Midjourney literally generate like 1,000 remixes of me in like an anime style, or me in like some kind of like whatever style. Okay, so here we go. Here's this. Here's kind of like, you guys can see my Discord, right? Yeah. This is all the disco ball stuff. This is all the kind of like little spaceman. I was actually really happy how this guy turned out. So there's just pictures of me. Oh, we find it here in a second. Okay, a lot of that going on. A lot of that going on. I was gonna do like a whole deadmau5 thing, but it couldn't get all of these do look kind of good. But again, I took a picture of deadmau5 and I did, I put it in the same style as the anime villain wearing a red tracksuit, wearing a red deadmau5 helmet. And then I did it in this Niji 5 style, which is like the resident kind of anime data set. So it gave it this kind of like anime sort of, like villain look. I mean, this one kind of turned out okay.
Sounds cool.
I was gonna do like a huge post about it. See, what's funny is sometimes it like really loses the plot, which is still kind of disturbing, kind of cursed. But it had some vibes to it. So I had a bunch of those. He was like, I was doing a bunch of like other artists. But let's see. There was ones that so yeah, that's been kind of my prompt. You just kind of like literally just describe it. And here's just some pictures of me. Again, I just put glasses on and I just had my jacket on and I just took a selfie literally. And then I just
so Zoey, I just want to point out, if you look at that red photo, he's giving it a URL, right? So he uploads the photo somewhere in Midjourney.
Correct. Yes.
And then he decorates it with the prompt.
Correct. So literally this HTTPS whatever is, I don't even think the image is available anymore, but it's just literally a selfie of me, like full, like a full body, whatever. And I drag it into Discord. Then you can right click when like, for example, here's an image. You can copy the link of the image. You can go imagine, and it pastes the link, and you say as a red in front of clouds, whatever. And that takes that image and makes it into a remix of that image.
And so from an AI perspective, in Runway, it's really helpful to have multiple images of the same theme that you like, because that tells the AI, it gives it more samples that it can use to fine tune the motion between those images, right? So you're curating variations for the purposes of retraining the AI for video or for the AI to create the in-between animations.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys can see this is getting pretty crazy. And I just literally just off the dome just wrote some random. I mean, this shit looks crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
Come on, dude. This is crazy as hell. Like, imagine that as visuals. Well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's literally do that right now. So let's go. Let's take this. You know, I'll upscale that one. I mean, this is literally a process. It's funny because, like, I gotta say, and I've told Ivan this before, Midjourney has maybe been the one. I don't know if you know about this, but I've like been on this journey. I've been on a mid journey of myself this year. I've been putting out one song every single week since January. So I'm at week 43. 43 records since January out. Mostly remixes, a lot of like some originals on like record labels. But like this week, for example, last week I did a Dead Mouse song. I did Raise Your Weapon and like this kind of thing to kind of celebrate. Obviously, I wasn't gonna play it. I wasn't get my ass catapulted out of the venue if I did that. But but I have it, and that's why, for example, I did this. I did it kind of like an Afro house style. So I kind of tried to make like a, you know, almost like an African kind of dead mouse kind of mask, if it were to be whatever, something like that. That's kind of why I did the prompt. And Midjourney has been, as a musician, as an artist, I mean, I would say like the biggest rocket fuel, like not like 3 crazy tricks to like literally Midjourney is that. Like for my process of everything, whether it's putting a song out and being able to have the images done. Like, dude, before the pandemic, before Midjourney ever existed, I mean, already it was so much anxiety to like make a song. I was already so emotionally taxing. But then my manager would be like, hey, we can't push this until the art's done.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Add 3 more weeks onto the thing and add $400, $300, which is, you know, not a lot, but if you put out a bunch of records, it starts adding up. Then you have to deal with another human, and I know that kind of sucks because it's art, and we don't wish the world, you know. But this has just been a game changer for me because it's like, hey, I need to put get some information out there. I can make a background, I can make like an interesting asset, boom, put some titles on it, and it's out. So the fact that now I'm be able to like add it to the so here's another thing. So I'll go like this. Yeah. So being able to do that, especially now that I'm able to make visuals with it to some extent, has been woo. So the other thing is with this, I do like a little zoom out, which again, another game changer for Midjourney, that you can do the zoom out. So which is great about it is, I think we're gonna get there soon with Midjourney, but the fact is that it's not vectorized, right? It's not layers, so I can't kind of go, oh, move the head up, do this, that, right? But it, you know, for the sake of like, hey, if I want to have more space for like titles or whatever, if I'm making like an album track cover, whatever it is. But dude, now with zoom out, look how crazy this is.
Yeah.
You know, so I can
you have a world, like you have a theme that you can
absolutely
immerse into. Yeah.
I mean, dude, are you joking me right now?
Right.
How sick is that?
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
I couldn't even conceive that, you know, and now, so okay, boom. So I take it now. Let me share my screen to the other screen. And
by the way, Victor, I just want to share something with both of you.
Yeah.
If you can, YouTube the Adobe keynote from Adobe Max from a couple weeks ago or a week ago. They announced Illustrator prompt generation, so you can do text to vector graphics.
Oh, that's insane. That's
wow.
I haven't tried it yet.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I think what's cool is that Adobe is like realizing, maybe we need to like be the first on this shit that's happening. Otherwise,
yeah, it's like Photoshop now. That's incredible.
Yeah. So here's the process with Runway ML, and obviously I like signed up for again, I pay $10 a month for Midjourney. I mean, it's paid back in, you know, unheard of dividends.
Yeah.
Multiple thousands of X back for that $10. And with Runway ML, now that I have a context for it to be used, we're turning these images into video-esque. I mean, again, $15 a month, no problem. So to me, that's my stack, right?
Yeah.
I pay for Splice for audio samples. You know, that's like the core for my music production, you know, kind of stack. And then, you know, 10 for Midjourney, 15 for this. It'll make sense to me. So here's kind of what I do. So when I was making, as you guys can see on the interface here, I just literally dragged in that image that we just made into Runway. And well, let me just start from the very beginning here, right? So you're on the website. Bring your image to life with Gen 2. And what I always say with this stuff is like, when I show it to people, they go, oh, well, the motions aren't, dude, this is what we have now. In 3 months, it's going to be absolutely insane. It's going to be messed up. So, oh man, it doesn't have like a lot of motion to it, dude. Just I have faith, especially with the way that Midjourney is like exponentially growing. So I throw in that mouse thing that we just did, and since in my head I was like, we're gonna be using it for like kind of like, you know, high motion, kind of high energy, whatever, into club visuals, I'll go general motion to a 10. I'll go camera motion, zoom, since it seems like kind of like a static-ish kind of, you know, this image, general motion, boom, upscale, interpolate, and I'll just hit generate. And it's gonna take a minute here, but yeah, I mean, I just went ham. I just made like a bunch of these.
Yeah. So do you have any control over like the length of the video, or like even in Midjourney the size like of the content, because it's all sort of like in the square, you know, it's not like 16 by 9, and then the clips were kind of short. I was just curious if that's something you can change.
Yeah. So in this, so I don't know if you guys can see this, but at the very top here it says get credits and it says 61 seconds.
Yeah.
So their grift on Gen 2 is that they kind of do it per second. Okay. So if I want to generate some, and that's kind of the reason I do it. And honestly, I went on such a like a manic chaos, like making all of the videos, that I kind of, after I made all of them, I literally made all of them and then kind of realized, oh shit, I could have made them like 8 seconds. Because what happens is, or whatever more, because what happens is after you generate this 4 second, oh, here we go. See, there's an extend button. So let's watch this. Here's the grand finale right here. Oh shit.
Wasn't expecting that, but it's kind of cool.
That's a little fucked up. So yeah, well, this is the other thing. Like a couple of them were like, this makes no fucking sense.
Wait, so it made it into a different.
It made it into a horse cat. I
from that image. Okay.
Well, whatever. Again,
so let me explain what's going on here, because I think that's actually a very important learning moment, right? Mm-hmm. When you use Midjourney, mm-hmm. when you write the prompt, what takes place in the background is that all the images that have been trained with a certain vocabulary mm-hmm. would use that prompt to generate that image. With Runway, they're likely using different language to describe the content. Right. And so when you give it an image, the way that it interprets it is different than the way that you use to generate it.
Right.
Right. And so yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And so, well, here's the thing. So as you can see here, right? Ivan totally nailed it. As you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just dragging in. And now actually thinking about it from a feedback perspective for these guys, this is actually kind of big. Like what they should be able to do is like, well, I guess you can do image plus description here. Again, I'm telling you all.
They want you to. Yeah, it's called reinforcement.
Yeah. Because here they were basically guessing what I wanted. Yeah. Right. So as you can see, the way that they like make, I mean, I don't know as much as Ivan does in this, but I'm assuming, right? The AI like kind of sees that there's some kind of image in the middle there, that head, it turns it into something. And as you can see, like when it moves, it like kind of picks up where eyes are. You see how it like does the blink mm-hmm. and like kind of turns. So like you see how only the human little guy is kind of moving and everything else is static. Like, I think that what it does is it like kind of goes in and finds those things when it's not given a prompt and kind of goes, let's
find out what it is. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, you should definitely.
Here you go. Look at that. That's much better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. Yeah.
Right. Isn't that crazy? So that's literally exactly what I was doing. So with that said, let's go extend 4S, 4 seconds.
So wait, what did you do differently on the second one? Did you give it the prompt?
It's just random select, honestly. I did have dude, there were some funny ones, like when I was using the one with my face. That I ended up doing like, especially the ones that are kind of static, were just with the red background.
Yeah.
There was one that like straight up, like there was a couple times where it just kept on giving me like a full on like dreadlocks. It like turned me into an African-American guy. Like seriously. Yeah. Turned me into the guy from anyway, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, that's a very interesting. It like kept on doing that. It was just me with like dreadlocks and glasses and like just I was African-American. That was like the whole time. So that was kind of crazy. And again, it just kind of had no control. So I couldn't really use those. I mean, that would be kind of funny. It just wouldn't make any sense. But yeah, it kept on doing it. So but I just kept doing it until I got the prompt that I wanted. And it sucks because it costs seconds.
Yeah.
Right. But and I guess that's the other thing, right? Like if I'm just doing like 4 seconds at a time, it's not like a huge loss to my kind of overall seconds. But when I find something that I like, I can start extending it, and that kind of makes more sense. So I guess you kind of just keep on fishing until you find something good. And then I guess
typically like a VJ clip that I usually get is like between, I'd say like 8 seconds to 16 seconds. You know, you kind of keep it on on the beat too, you know, it's a certain BPM. So
Yeah.
sometimes with the mid journey and like the
Look how
stable
cool that is.
ones, is that the neither 4 seconds?
That's
Yeah.
8 seconds. Look how crazy that is.
Yeah, like that
Yeah,
would be
this is that you can actually, it makes sense, right? It's longer, so you can connect to it better.
yeah.
Oh, dude,
The
that's
thing I will
freaking
say though
sick.
about some of the stable diffusion clips as VJ clips is they don't have a lot of rhythm to them, which is like
Yeah.
fine, most part. You know, you can like add some sort of effects to it, but usually like VJ clips in general will have some sort of like motion like coming out that can connect to it like a BPM, so that you can like sync it up, you know. But
I think what you just hit, I think that's a money making opportunity. I think in the world, like figuring out something like that is able to go
with the BPM,
that's just so logical to me.
Yeah.
That makes like if I had that, like, you know, I always think about like when it comes to like products, you know, in this kind of world, it's interesting because it's like your world and the music world, it's just so, it's just fully intimately linked. It's just linked, period, right? Obviously, like that's the whole point, right? But it's like, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but it's like so many visual kind of tools to create this stuff are not, they're kind of not music centric tools. You know what I mean? You kind of have to create it and then kind of contextualize it with music after. Like if there was a tool that immediately was like, hey, we're creating this image in the same thing and putting it to beat, you know, and making it kind of intuitive for a musician, or maybe even like me, right? To be able to kind of just plug and play. Here's my assets.
I'm building it, Victor. I'm going to build it for you,
of course,
and for Zoey.
Because when I do it, it would be like in After Effects by the timeline, and you know, like every certain second, so that if you speed it up or slow it down, and you keep it in 60 frames per second, so that you can speed it up like half time or double time,
right?
Then you'll stay in that like general, you know, kind of like sine wave of it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And then I mean, the other thing, you know, they don't loop. That's, I don't know if you could tell it to loop, because like a lot of the clips that I got from you, they're around like 3 seconds or so. Like ideally most of them had like more movement, but some of them didn't have as much movement, so I'd speed them up, but then they're very short. And but I would put a bounce on it, so basically it would go to the end and then bounce and go back, so there was never that like skip, go back to the beginning, skip, go back to the beginning, right?
That's
because
awesome.
You're playing like an hour set, right? Even if you send me, you know, 100 videos, but they're all 3 seconds each, I'm gonna run out of those, right? So
that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah. So usually what happens is that same loop will be played multiple times, and then maybe something on top of it. So you can think of like different like blending modes too. Like it was a little difficult to blend like a disco ball with a disco ball, you know? So if you had like other like pattern sort of things, or like textures could be cool too. But the disco balls were great. And then when they had those like spiral outlining things, like that looked amazing up, especially on that stage.
Yeah.
And then I really liked the one that you had with the person like in the car was like the main theme. But actually the one it did have good like rhythm was the one where it like changed to a different picture. A couple seconds. That one, like I got it perfectly timed.
Wow, that's awesome.
So right as the beat hit, it was like change picture, and then I could add an effect, and then it'd be different and different. And that one looped, so I was able to use it more. So that one is really cool.
So sick. Okay, that's great. See, that's amazing. So then okay, so I would take that feedback, right? And I would go and I would literally just keep doing this so number one, I would extend them, right? At least 8 seconds, kind of 12-second kind of in the wheelhouse. And I guess I would kind of optimize and try to find the ones. Oh, well, actually, look at this. I can hit reveal prompt.
You can ask it to loop. I don't know if that's
I don't know if I could do that.
I don't know if it would. Yeah,
but
you might be able to edit something. Another like thing I don't really recommend, but something a lot of people do is they do send in longer clips that they edit, and it could be from like 10 minutes, or it could be an hour. So that gives like any VJ, or if there's not really good house VJ, or if there's not a VJ, they can just kind of use that as a baseline, and then they can add on top, like, you know, on top, or add effects.
That's what Good Times Ahead said they do.
They do that too. Yeah.
Right. They talked about that. Yeah.
I had some issues with theirs because there's points in the thing where it had like black space, so it would just go to nothing randomly. And then like, you know, there's a drop, and I have no idea, you know, even if I look through the whole hour clip, I have no idea what's coming next. So they're going to do a drop, and all of a sudden it's, you know, some big moment, but there's like these dancing skeletons or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That can be really hard with it, but I've seen it be really successful with a lot of DJs that don't have so much like figurative stuff, or it's just kind of fun background. But it's very common. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so cool. No, but that's an amazing insight. Because dude,
Yeah.
like my other thing like this year for me, doing this whole like one song a week, and I don't have a manager or an agent. I don't know what people think. I don't know what people's perception about me is. I'm also just kind of working. So I also kind of, but it's like I don't have any of these things that a lot of artists have. So I'm actually finding a lot of strength and like kind of fun from being personally responsible for like all this stuff. So learning about this and kind of getting on the skill stack and learning from your perspective about this, it's like, yeah, I get like being an artist is about looking cool in the studio and like taking selfies, but it's like I also like getting my hands dirty with this stuff, and I feel like it's just such a great thing for any up and coming artist to be able to kind of know how to do this or know about stuff like this from your perspective.
Yeah,
because they're gonna have to have this conversation eventually, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really like when people reach out to other people to collab on things, because there's so many talented people around you and it's really good to work. But like you said, like you're doing one thing a week, you can't like wait on someone else's timeline, and working with another human is hard and expensive. So I have mad respect for people who do everything themselves. Like it seems like kind of a lot to deal with, and it's a lot of control and a lot of pressure, but like then at the end of the day, you're like, I made all of this. Dude,
it felt so
came
good.
up to me, I was surprised. I was like, oh shit, and then I told him, I was like, he made all this, it's kind of cool. It's less crazy. Common than you would think.
Awesome.
When it's more common, it's like it's a big project. A couple other things I can say is like a lot of the things had like a lot of them had like backgrounds. Like I don't know if it's possible to have like more black space, because we're kind of stuck in the field of like the red. I know you got this all together like with a couple days, so no worries. It was actually great for that. But just feedback wise, like a lot of times like it's nice to have black space on the LED screen, and that way you can like blend more. So if it's not a solid black, or if it is black, it's better. But if it's solid red background, and then
solid red is worse or better?
I'd say more black space is better.
Black space, okay.
Yeah. So like, because sometimes when you're stuck, the lighting guy can only use red. I can only use, red. And then when I'm trying to switch colors, it's going to switch the whole thing, and maybe it's not to prompt. Like that's just one thing. But with disco, awesome. It kind of goes well. It actually doesn't, it's not that bad to have like a lot of like solid bright colors. So, you like disco is your weapon thing. And then when I was VJing too, I did feel a little confined to like two themes, because there's only kind of like two kind of themes. There was like the driving thing, and then, or I guess three, like your face, and then the disco ball, and then the dancing people. Okay, so I guess like three kind of themes, but they're all really short. So just having more themes would be really great, and if you could somehow keep curating like on that same thought process, it looks like the same style, I think that would be great.
I love that. Okay,
so Zoey, I have questions. So cool. When for an hour set, like how many themes or scenes, or like if you were to be given an interface to, or if you were to came to Vibes and Logic and Victor was to drag into a bunch of buckets his visuals, right? How would you want that organized? And how many like assets per?
It's a great one.
Right. So some DJs like to think it's like nice to make a folder of each different style, that kind of takes a lot longer for me, like go in each folder, and then I have to convert the clips too. So I have to convert them to DXV3 that works with Resolume. So I have to take them all, convert them, they save to a new file. And then I have to then put them in my composition. So honestly, if you just have it all in one file, but just named really, really well, like maybe like disco 1, 2, 3, 4, and then whatever the next element is, like driving, something like that. Just keep it all in same category would be kind of nice, and I'd say minimum of like 5 different kind of looks, and then up to could be 10 or something, 15, but you don't want to go too crazy, because then you're like trying to guess. Like especially someone doesn't know.
Has that ever happened? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, I've had like this. I'm like, when do I play this like dancing SpongeBob, and then I have this like death look, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna have to feel the music. Yeah, I get sent either like a bunch of just like, hey, we've been collecting this for years, or hey, this is our 2015 look, and now this is our, like, how do I blend those styles together too, which it doesn't mind. I just will kind of take it from a journey. And then, but some people give me a lot of things where it's like, hey, this is that one clip, and then this is that clip a little faster, and that's for the drop, So you think of like making a clip that's like, this one is like, for the melody or something, or like you know, the build up, and then here's a clip with the drop, and it's got like more energy into it.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
so with that said, now I think I'm now understanding. The clip that you were talking about, was it the one where it was like people changing like every beat?
Yeah, that worked well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. See, okay, so the way that I made that is, again, because I had a song that came out a couple of weeks ago called Ferrari, in a Ferrari, whatever. So I took me again, and I put me sitting in it. I mean, it looked like a cursed, weird, like cross section of a Ferrari, whatever, AI trying to do it. But it made me female in a bunch of them, which I thought was so sick. But dude, it was sick. I mean, I got long hair.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it in the morphing. But dude, I made that in DaVinci Resolve, in whatever there's a type of transition called, I don't know, but the point is that wasn't AI. I mean, it was AI in terms of I generated the images. I took like 16 of them, put them right next to each other, and I copied the same transition, I guess. It's called like a simple, smooth fade, or like some really simple transition, like a basic ass transition. But then I put the characters kind of aligned in frame, because obviously they were all like, you know, different positions, but I kind of put them as close as possible, so it has that morphing effect. And that wasn't AI. That was just straight up DaVinci Resolve. Yeah,
that was cool. Yeah, it worked really
Yeah.
well. Just it was like on the beat, so every time, you know, I slowed it down a little bit. So I put my clips in by BPM sync.
sure.
So then I have a clock BPM that I use, and usually I can like feel it out, or if I have time code, I can like read it and adjust it, or I can tap it too. Opposed to the other way is by timeline. So timeline just goes directly whatever the clip's already like in the speed and everything, and you could just speed it up or down. But I use BPM so that way I can be like, all right, I'm gonna speed this up, you know, by like the beats. Like it's so it'd be faster, halftime, double time.
Love it.
But
That's
yeah,
so
like
cool.
I got it like right at how it was like on hitting, and
It's so cool, dude. Yeah, we'll see now. So that's great feedback. So it makes you want to make more of those, you know? So it's like maybe the ultimate thing is like, how do I go generate, for example, a bunch of like those weird, like kind of retro disco balls, put on a black background? Because again, the other algorithm that's crazy out there that you could probably do in Runway. Well, yeah, there's
an alpha channel, if there's any alpha
Exactly.
channel possibility, but that bulks up the file a lot. In Resolume, I can just take out a black background pretty easily, but that'll
cool.
take out all black in.
Right, but that's kind of still okay for
It's fine
if you're doing, because it kind of looks like a, you know, if you're doing
but
visuals.
it wouldn't be okay, like, you know, if it's a picture of you and you have black hair, right?
Okay.
So that's
Right.
like I
should go blonde. Okay, that's
yeah, I mean that's a one way to do it. It's the quickest way.
That's great. No, so okay, cool. So I could go and do that, take out like a little background, make it black, kind of do that little morphing thing. Maybe take a bunch of motion, kind of remove the background, because there's actually a background removing thing on Runway. As well, but that's probably, I haven't tried it yet, but it probably gets pretty gnarly.
It's not bad to have some of them with like solid backgrounds, like a lot of people do, especially if they want to keep certain color theme, you know. We'll get writers that say, you know, only use like this color palette. So if that's intentional, and that's fine to do, I've seen that before, but it just gives you more like freedom of creativity to, and especially if you're going to be making more and more and you want those clips to blend with each other.
Yeah,
you know.
Absolutely. I mean, is this process something you think you'd check out, like trying to mess around with?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
that's
used
awesome.
some AI tools, but I haven't used any of like the video tools yet.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I would like to do more of that.
They're still a little nascent. You know, there are some other ones, like there's one called Kyber or something that is like a little bit, looks like it's a little bit crazier. But I just sincerely think, and Ivan, I don't know if you agree with this. I mean, first off, I don't know if you've ever seen those comparisons of like Midjourney in October 2022 and Midjourney now. I mean, it's scary as hell how they've come in 365 days. So like, what happens next October? Is it just going to be like full CCTV footage of anything you want? You know, like that's the, so for me, it's like, here's where we're at right now with Runway. And what's funny is like, I get it. Like they're doing the credits thing, got to kind of re-upload on seconds, all this stuff. But dude, what's going to happen is in like 3-6 months, a competitor, maybe it's Midjourney, is going to come around and say, we do images, we do videos. So they have the luxury to be able to do this little credits thing because someone else hasn't come out and has like, you know, press one button and create a 15-second, you know, animated short with audio. You know what I mean? Because once that comes out, then everybody's going to be forced to like do it free or cheap or whatever, you know?
And it's kind of hard too, because if you do all that, you know, like you're like 1 minute and then you don't like it or want to change part of it.
Exactly.
That's, I think, why it is better for those shorter videos, but trying to learn how to like, use the short videos to your advantage, and so it's not just all like tiny little ones. Because also I was like bumping it back and forth, so it'd be like, this the whole time. And
Interesting.
you can only watch that for a couple times because otherwise you'd be like, man,
So do you think that like if I went and like you said, if I went and I made like a bunch more like 8-second kind of clips or like longer clips, whatever, kind of adhered to more of the stuff that you were saying, would I still be able to use the stuff that I already have in there in combination with the new stuff? Is it kind of good to have both? Yeah.
The thing is though, I mean, also the sizing, right? Like
right.
I think it was more like I don't know the ratio of it, but it wasn't not a 16:9.
Okay, so that's what I need. 16:9 is the key.
Yeah, I mean that'd be like 1920 by 1080 or 4K is all 16:9.
Yeah, so you can do that. You can do that in Midjourney.
Okay, yeah.
You could literally type in at the end of the prompt 16:9. It turns into 16:9, and then you drag it into Runway, whatever. It's 16:9.
Yeah, and for I know like for your album cover, your artwork stuff, you're gonna want it back in square. But yeah, I guess that would be the other.
Yeah.
Two separate them.
That's so cool. That's such a great insight. Because now after this, like it was honestly, I gotta comes back to me. I gotta thank Hayam, the stage manager.
Yeah, that's so cool.
She's the one that's making all of this happen, including leading us to this conversation where now I'm like, okay, I got it. I gotta stick to those kind of ratios, that format.
Yeah.
Again, now it gives me the power to be able to really do it all myself now, That's great.
Yeah, that's right. That's great. Freedom and
creativity.
Cool.
This is super helpful, guys. I love hearing.
Absolutely, it's awesome.
Just the creative process and Zoe, kind of how your process is intaking these assets, and it gave me a lot of ideas for presets and just defaults that I can build in the Vibes and Logic system that makes it super easy for things to be drag and drop. And honestly, Victor, like coming out of this conversation, I already have to store video files on the platform. Like it's not hard for me to kind of make a little mini Dropbox for visuals, right? Where it's designed for video for people like Zoe and artists to basically share the visuals. And you, as a touring artist, can just send the link with your latest visuals. But instead of a Dropbox, it can like be managed, right? And take care of the naming, the dimensions, things like that. Even maybe encode the videos into the format for Resolume directly. So that can save a step for Zoe.
Sometimes people prefer not to do that because it kind of, it's nice when you receive it, but so it's funny, the day that we had the show, I was downloading content for the 2 artists that I was doing. Yours was about like 225 megabytes, whereas GTA's was 110 gigabytes. So I was like, all right, let's see, yours very high quality in the like style and stuff, but theirs were bulked up, big videos. And the reason is because when you convert to DXV3, it like bulks it up so much that like doubles or triples the size. So a lot of people don't want to have that in their Dropbox and
that makes sense. Yeah.
But every single VJ who gets it is going to do that conversion process.
That's awesome.
It's kind of you. If it ends up being 100 gigabytes, it's kind of a lot. Just let the VJ do it. But it will take away that step of like if you get it last minute or if you have someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So it's kind of unsure thing.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for not letting me spin out extra work. That's not appreciated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, encoding is expensive too, right? Like I got to pay for the cloud infrastructure to take a video and re-encode it into a bigger file. And then I got to pay for the bandwidth to send it back.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's why we keep everything in our like Google Drive. It would create like a document sheet. And then we just like copy and paste the link to the Dropbox. So we don't actually hold any visuals in our cloud either. It's like, it's all just links to anyone else's, otherwise, you're with the shows, it would be out of everyone, be way too much.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, cool guys. If everybody's good, I'm good.
Yeah,
that was awesome. By the way, I feel like this should be content somehow. Like this is such a like great knowledge that I just so simple. It's such a simple thing that could probably alleviate so much headaches for you, alleviate so much headaches for artists, and can ultimately result in doper shit being made. But I just feel like a lot of people don't know about it. They just don't know.
I'm all about spreading the knowledge and like
yeah.
doing talks and stuff. I've done a couple. I'm working with like Neon Owl. They're a citywide thing, and I've done a masterclass one. And it was like, yeah, people were just like, what format do I send my logo in? I'm like, oh man, it's such a funny thing. I'm always getting, why am I getting in this format? And then I know on the other side, they're like, I don't know what to send. I'm like, this is just an easy conversation.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's so dope. Yeah,
I'm happy, Zoe. Like, if you have like guidelines for artists and stuff, like, I'm happy to put together like a one sheet marketing materials, because I'm gonna have to do that for Vibes and Logic anyway, right?
Yeah.
To like direct people on how to submit visual loops into the system. So I'll be happy if you send me the stuff. I'll beautify it. I will make, I will be a champion to get the word out.
Yeah, I made a little advancing sheet for Midway with some like preferred formats and stuff, so I can send that your way.
Awesome. Yeah. And to Victor too. Yeah, can't wait to see what you do next, and definitely following you and stuff now. So
thank you for all your help and everything. You're so awesome. You're so awesome, and
it's great to meet you.
You were like a guardian angel in my stupor that I was in. I was like,
Victor, shall we give Zoe a lumen?
I could tell by your face. I was like, all right, you're happy. Okay, you're good.
Yeah. It was like a. I was like, okay, something. Finally, a human to communicate with. Versus me and my cell phone, so it's great.
I feel you.
Yeah. Zoe, do you have a lumen? Have I given you a lumen yet?
I don't have a lumen.
Do you know what they are?
No.
You don't? Okay. Let me show you really quick. Oops, and logic. Okay. And this guy. I would love to gift you a lumen for all your help. Yeah. And then you can play with like a little AI character and train it. And actually, like, you'll be able to add your visuals to it, which I think be like super cool.
I like your platform ideas. Are so fun. I'm excited for when it takes off.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And thank you. Like, you've been super helpful with just educating me on, how the whole process works, and just saves me a lot of time.
Full support. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye. You too. Bye.